$70 million for a car that technically shouldn't exist. In 1962, Enzo Ferrari didn't just build a racer, he pulled off the greatest heist in automotive history. He lied to the world, cheated the rules, and created a legend out of thin air. Most people see the most expensive car in the world. I see the most successful scam ever executed. Today, collectors call it the Holy Grail. But back then, it was a middle finger to the authorities. The racing world demanded 100 cars for the title. Enzo only had 36. Most men would have quit. Enzo Ferrari? He just ordered more coffee. By the time the inspectors realized what happened, the GTO had already conquered the world. This is the story of the Ferrari 250 GTO, the most beautiful lie Detroit, or anyone else, ever had to face. To understand the crime, you have to understand the law. In the early 60s, the FIA, racing's governing body, was fed up with prototype cars. They wanted real production cars on the track. The rule was simple. If you want to race in the GT class, you must build 100 identical units of that car. 100. No exceptions. This process was called homologation. It was meant to ensure that the cars winning on Sunday were the same cars you could buy on Monday. For a giant like Ford or GM, 100 cars was a Tuesday afternoon. For Ferrari, it was an impossible mountain. Enzo was broke, his factory was struggling. He didn't have the time, the money, or the workers to build 100 of these masterpieces. But the GTO, the Gran Turismo Omologato, was already designed. It was a 170-mile-per-hour missile powered by the legendary 3.0-liter Colombo V12. Enzo knew that if he played by the rules, Ferrari would lose to the Americans and the British. He had a choice: follow the law and fail, or cheat the system and become immortal. He chose the latter. 1962. Maranello. The FIA inspectors arrive to count the cars. They expect to see 100 GTOs lined up in the courtyard. Instead, they find a small group of about 20 cars. Enzo is charming. He is wearing his signature dark sunglasses. He welcomes them with open arms and even better espresso. Here is where the genius and the balls of Enzo Ferrari comes in. He tells the inspectors, the cars are spread across different lots because we lack the space. He has the inspectors count the first group. Then he invites them for a long, luxurious Italian lunch. While the inspectors are laughing over wine and pasta, Enzo's mechanics are working like ghosts. They move the same 20 cars from the first lot to a second lot across town. The inspectors finish lunch, walk to the second lot, and count the same cars again. Enzo tells them these are new units. He repeats this: lot 3, lot 4, different lighting, different angles, same chassis. The inspectors were so distracted by the hospitality, and perhaps the wine, that they signed the papers. Enzo Ferrari had officially built 100 cars. In reality, he didn't even have 40. To this day, we only know of 36 chassis ever produced. But counting wasn't enough. Ferrari had to prove these cars existed in the records. This is where the paper trail gets dirty. Enzo started skipping chassis numbers. He would stamp a car with number 3273, then the next one with 3305. To anyone looking at the ledger, it looked like a massive production run. In reality, those missing numbers were ghosts. They were holes in the history books designed to fool the world. This wasn't just a white lie. It was a calculated middle finger to every other manufacturer who played by the rules. The GTO was technically a prototype disguised as a street car. It had no carpet. It had no speedometer. It had a gate shifter that felt like a bolt-action rifle. It was built for one thing: to kill the competition. And kill it did. Back in America, one man saw right through the smoke: Carroll Shelby. He knew what Ferrari was doing. Shelby was trying to homologate his own AC Cobra, and he was being held to the letter of the law. He watched as the illegal Ferraris dominated the tracks, winning the over 2,000cc World Championship 3 years in a row. Shelby complained, the British complained, even some Italians complained. But the GTO was too beautiful, too fast, and too iconic for the FIA to admit they'd been fooled. To ban the GTO would be to admit that the greatest racing organization in the world had been outsmarted by a man in a dusty garage in Modena. So they stayed silent, and the GTO kept winning. $70 million lie. It's not a luxury experience. It's mechanical warfare. There is no power steering. The steering wheel is a massive piece of wood and aluminum that requires muscle to turn. The heat from the V12 pours into the cabin until your shoes start to melt. At 160 miles per hour, the car feels like it's trying to tear itself apart. But then, you hit the sweet spot. The exhaust note changes from a growl to a scream, a sound so pure it makes modern supercars sound like vacuum cleaners. It is the last of the analog gods. No computers, no traction control. Just your hands, your feet, and 300 horsepower in a chassis that weighs less than a modern Honda Civic. It demands everything from you. It doesn't forgive mistakes. If you miss a shift, the gearbox will let you know with a metallic grind that sounds like money disappearing. But if you get it right, it gives you a seat in history. So why the $70 million price tag? In 2026, we live in a world of screens, silent electric motors, and artificial intelligence. The GTO is the antidote. It is a time capsule of an era when one man's ego was bigger than the rules. Because Enzo lied, only 36 of these cars exist today. That scarcity, born out of a scam, is what created the most valuable object on Earth. If Enzo had actually built 100 cars, the value would be half of what it is today. His lie didn't just win races, it created a financial miracle. Every time a 250 GTO goes across the auction block, the world stops. Collectors fight over them like religious artifacts. And every time the hammer falls on a record-breaking price, I can imagine Enzo Ferrari somewhere wearing his dark sunglasses, smiling. He knew that the myth was always more important than the truth. He knew that if you win enough races, nobody asks to see the production logs. Enzo Ferrari once said, "I don't sell cars, I sell dreams." But for the 250 GTO, he sold the world a beautiful high-speed deception. And 60 years later, we're still glad he did. Because without that lie, we wouldn't have the greatest car ever made. We wouldn't have the standard for what a front-engine GT car should be. We wouldn't have the story of the man who looked at the most powerful racing organization in the world and told them to go have some coffee while he stole their championship. The horsepower wars aren't over. They've just gone underground. If you want to know the truth behind the machines Detroit and Maranello tried to hide, you're in the right place. We cut through the marketing and the myths to show you the raw metal and the guts that built the legends we love. This is where history meets the road. If this story gave you chills, you're one of us. You understand that cars aren't just transportation. They are pieces of history, artifacts of rebellion. Subscribe to USA Car Balls, because the real stories are never in the brochure. They are hidden in the chassis numbers and the back lots of Maranello. We're just getting started on these legends. See you on the next one.